Look after Mr. Bond. See that some harm comes to him.
Welcome to episode 90 of Central Intelligence Cinema. Today, we're headed to space. Take it away, Pierce.
Beg your pardon, forgot to knock.
Welcome to the CIC, initiating security clearance.
Who are you?
Bond. James Bond.
Pussy galore.
Felix Leiter.
His name's Jaws. He kills people.
And Stavro Blofeld.
Identity confirmed.
Now, pay attention, 007.
Welcome to Central Intelligence Cinema, a podcast dedicated to spy movies and secret agent pop culture.
Bond, what do you think you're doing?
Keeping the British hand up, sir.
You amuse me, Mr. Bond.
Do you expect me to talk?
Sorry, old man. Section 26, paragraph 5. Need to know. Sure you understand.
Goodbye, Mr. Bond.
Recording from an undisclosed location high above the planet Earth, utilizing the most rudimentary of plot armor, it's a Central Intelligence Cinema podcast. I'm Jason Greenberg, and with me, as always, Ben Esslinger.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason. And welcome back to the CIC, the spy movie podcast that is still recovering from a G-force simulator gone awry. How you doing, Jason?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Who knew we could take 13 Gs and not pass out?
That's right. I mean, we passed the test, though. We passed with flying colors.
We did. We're able to straighten our shirt and walk on out of the building.
As if nothing had happened. We are
just like James Bond.
That's right. We can be shaken, but we are not stirred.
Damn Skippy. Although I guess on the simulator we would have been stirred, but not shaken.
Yes, I suppose so. That would have been more accurate. Yes. But yes, welcome back to the CIC. Very, very excited about today. We got a big one today, man. Big movie to review. I'm really excited. We have Moonraker.
Whew. Moonraker.
We're going to space. Going to space, Jason.
I love me the space.
Hey.
Hey.
What's your favorite planet?
Well,
mine's the sun.
Hey, if the moon were made out of cheese, would you eat it? I sure would.
I would. Heck, I'd have seconds.
What if the moon were made out of spare ribs? You know, I have to say, though, it's pretty ballsy that Eon went to the future and kind of made a parody movie of Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, that and a little bit
of originality.
And a little bit of a spoof on Elon Musk, too.
You think?
A little bit. It feels a little bit.
Maybe a little.
Except they sort of got rid of the racism.
Well, did they though?
Well,
did they,
okay,
though?
Not entirely, but Drax does have some, a little bit of diversity in his stable of
his master race. Dude, it's right there in the
little
name.
Noah's Ark.
How many of those people in the Noah's Ark were of a lighter color or darker color than yourself and me?
There was like one. It was like Franklin. It was like the token.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. It could have.
Saying.
Yeah. It probably. Yeah. Okay. Well,
But hey.
1979.
It was actually, to be fair, very forward thinking for a movie from 1979. So
I would absolutely 100% agree with that on a bunch of different levels that I'm sure we'll get into here.
Absolutely.
But and speaking of getting into it, shall we get into it?
Heck yeah.
From the most exotic locations on Earth, Moonraker will transport you to another world. Holly was a warm girl with the right connections.
Could this possibly be the moment for us to pool our resources?
We would be better off working together.
More excitement, more thrills, more spills. And guess who's dropped in for a bite? Jaws is back. From Earth to the most spectacular adventure in space, Moonraker. It's out of this world.
What exactly are you up to here, Drax? Moonraker 1, liftoff.
What's that?
An entire city in space.
James Bond and the treacherous Dr. Goodhead. Despite your efforts, my finely wrought dream approaches its fulfillment.
Okay, Moonraker, the 11th official Eon-produced James Bond movie, released in 1979, directed by Louis Gilbert, who did You Only Live Twice, The Spy Who Loved Me, and he also directed Alfie.
He did Alfie, did he?
He did Alfie, yay.
That's pretty wonderful. I'm glad that he did it.
Yes.
I'm sure all the other movies he did were not nearly as good as that one was. But that one's probably fine anyway.
Exactly. We've also got John Glenn glenning his way through this movie. Boy, his fingerprints are all over this movie as well.
Yeah.
He was both the second unit director and editor on the film. This was still during that era of the Bond Dream Team that included Cubby Broccoli producing, Ken Adam doing amazing production design, Peter Lamont as visual effects art director, not to mention the VFX team that included John Richardson and Mark Meddings. It doesn't get much more stacked than that. The visual effects team ended up being nominated for an Academy Award. And then we've got Michael G. also having an exec producer credit in this one, as well as making his way into the movie working for NASA. So there's that.
So that wasn't him drinking the wine in Venice?
No, that's a camera guy. That's like one of the camera crew people, yeah. But yeah, he's the same guy that shows up in the Tipsy Tourist. Yeah, it's the same guy. Just
I don't know. They all look the same to me.
I know. All those behind the scene guys, they're all, and it's that era. All the people from the 70s all look the same. So
correct.
It's the haircuts.
I mean, you and I, same thing. We look exactly the same.
That's right.
From the 70s.
But very much a stacked team of players here. The screenplay was written by Christopher Wood, who also wrote The Spy Who Loved Me, but takes very little from the Fleming novel, aside from the title and the character of Sir Hugo Drax. And even at that, Michael Lonsdale looks nothing like the literary Drax, who was described as being red-haired and having half of his face badly scarred from a German attack during the war. What's interesting to note is that according to Wikipedia, Fleming had originally intended for the novel to be made into a film, but by the time it was 1977 and time to make the next Bond movie, Broccoli thought that the story was too dated since it was originally published in 1955. He didn't think it was kind of spectacular enough, if you will. Because
That's fair.
So they dreamed this up, not to mention the fact that Star Wars is going on at this time.
And Close Encounters. And
Close, well, clearly, because...
Yeah, well,
clearly because they got the tone, they managed to license the tones.
Science fiction was back in vogue after Star Wars, although not necessarily well-produced science fiction, but there
Correct.
it was. Because the same year that this movie came out, Star Trek: The Motion Picture came out. And I will tell you, in all honesty, I will say, side by side, Moonraker is a better movie than Star Trek: The Motion Picture. So that's saying something, Tense.
That is saying something, especially coming from you. We've also got Jerry Anderson of Thunderbird fame.
Thunderbirds are go! Ooh, I'm a puppet. Look at me fly a spaceship.
He helped contribute to the script as well as having an uncredited producer role. So yeah, we've got a bunch of people working on that. As far as photography goes, the director of photography was Jean Tournay. Chris, you might want to help me with the pronunciation on that. Who is known for The Day of the Jackal and The Train. I don't know his work enough to know if like his signature per se is on this. Generally with Bond movies anyway, they just sort of meld into what a Bond movie is supposed to look like anyway.
Yeah, and this one did.
But I will say this, I feel like everything looks really good on screen, especially.
Oh yeah.
We were talking before we started recording, we were talking about how we watched it on Netflix, and the 4K restoration really shows off.
It does.
Some great imagery. So yeah, the film looks great. I mean, holy cow! Just some of the footage, particularly in Brazil, I thought looked really great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and all the space stuff too. But that's a lot of that's down to the VFX team. But it's a good looking film.
What really stood out to me were the action shots that were clearly being shot on rear projection.
Yeah.
They were still clearly being shot on rear projection, but they didn't have the fuzzy sort of, oh shit, that's completely rear projection kind of thing. It wasn't so bad that it took you out of the moment saying that's stupid. Right.
Yes. And I will say too that in other Bond movies where there's rear projection, the color grading is not matched nearly as well as it is in this movie. Like this movie, it feels like the color match between the rear projection and what is in the actual scene is spot on. And so, like you said, you're not pulled out of it very often. There's a couple insert shots that are a little, but those are more inserty shots than they are rear projection shots.
Yeah.
There's a couple dorky reaction shots they get from Jaws a couple times where I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
God.
But I mean, he was in there solely to be comic relief, so it was kind of hard to get around it.
Yeah,
I will just say,
exactly.
I think this is probably the most well shot Bond movie I think I've really ever seen. I mean, and the editing, which we'll talk about here in a minute, also the same. The pacing was fantastic in this. It's
certainly from this era.
And more mainstream, I think, oriented than it necessarily was James Bond story oriented.
I would agree. And speaking of editing, we've got John Glenn editing this for the third time around. He had previously done On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and then he came back for The Spy Who Loved Me. As we said, his signature is all over this.
Yeah.
With the double take pigeon and
the coughing over the coffin.
Yeah, the coffin. Oh my God, that joke! And I didn't even know that was a joke until you mentioned it, and then I suddenly realized
it may just be my own stupid sense of humor. But I'm like, that dude's coughing over a coffin.
It's like this subtle dad joke that I didn't even get it until you said it out loud, and then I'm like, oh God. But I mean, like you said, it's paced really well. I feel like too, this isn't one of those muddy Bond movies. I feel or convoluted. I feel like it's very straightforward for the most part.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of weird side B, C stories that are, I think about the whole drug running scene in The Living Daylights is wait, what? What? What is going on? Whereas this is really you can follow exactly what's going on in this. It's basically just Bond chasing Drax and trying to stop him from doing what he's doing. Yeah.
It's a detective. One clue leads to another clue, even if some of those clues are very, very, shall we say, well placed and easy to find. But it's a nice change of pace. You can just follow the movie and enjoy it for what it's trying to present to you rather than trying to tie any strings.
Yeah. So as far as music, we've also got John Barry, which I think he did a great job on this movie as well. As well
I like the soundtrack to this movie.
Very much so. I do too.
I love the score. And it sounds very Bondy, but it's not super Bondy. Right?
Yeah, and it's got the Bond theme kicks in when it needs to kick in, but you've also got that great element of space type music to it. That's
one of the things I noticed. It almost had, dare I say it, a John Williams quality to it in certain parts of the movie.
Yeah, and I know some people sort of diss the Shirley Bassey song in this, but I actually like it. I actually really like it.
Come on!
I like the disco version at the end too.
Yes, that was very peppy. But I mean, how could you diss a Shirley Bassey sung song in a James Bond movie?
You just don't. It's just good. It's just
not all of them have to be bangers.
Exactly. I mean, she's just quintessentially the Bond songstress.
Exactly.
By the numbers, this movie did very, very well, despite a really big budget of $34 million, which doesn't sound a lot by today's standards, but for adjusted for inflation, that's 151.8, which still doesn't seem very big for today's numbers. However, in those days, that was a massive budget. That was like
Star Wars budget was 35.
Yeah, so there you go. For reference, also, it was more than twice the budget of The Spy Who Loved Me. It eventually became the highest grossing film of the series at the time at $210.3 million, which for adjusted for inflation is $938.8 million. So almost $1 billion.
Yeah, we got to throw a couple pinkies on that one, considering what came afterwards.
Indeed, it did very, very, very well. So, looking at the main characters and everything, obviously we've got Sir Roger Moore back as James Bond at the age of 51, still looking great, actually.
Yep. We chatted about this a little while we were watching it, but I feel like this was peak Moore, and he started from there on just kind of looking a little older, a little more distinguished, a little older,
yes,
a little more distinguished. This was, I think, the last time he still looked like the Saint Roger Moore with some extra miles, and just started turning into the James Bond Roger Moore, and who was the Saint.
Exactly. Weirdly enough, this is a weird comment, but I just have to put it out there. I feel like he looks better when his hair is a little bit more disheveled.
Yes.
Like when it's all like kind of pinned down when he first meets Dr. Goodhead. He just kind of looks like a dork, but when he's like out in the forest in Rio and his hair is a little disheveled and stuff, he just looks better. I don't know. It's just me.
I think for me, it's true. See, for me, when he's all brushed out and Brill creamed and whatnot, he still looks like the Saint.
Yes.
But when he gets a little bit of loft in the dew, he starts to look more like, because he looks with that very tight and trim haircut, he looks like he's straight out of the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
In the 70s, Bond needed to have some bigger 70s hair, right? To kind of
to match the flares.
Right. Well, yeah. The butterfly collars and the ding-dong bell-bottoms, man.
Right, exactly. And then we've got, despite having quite the name of Dr. Holly Goodhead.
Sure, pussy galore.
Lois Chiles... Yes. Lois Chiles not only does a really good job in this role, but like the role itself was definitely exceptionally well written.
Absolutely.
Like, I think. Interestingly enough, too, she had actually turned down the role of Anya Amasova in The Spy Who Loved Me because she took like a temporary retirement from acting. In the meantime, they went to Jacqueline Smith, who was offered the role, but she turned it down due to scheduling conflicts with Charlie's Angels. Carol Bouquet was also offered the role, but she turned it down, only to eventually show up in the next movie in For Your Eyes Only as Melina Havelock. So
interesting
sliding doors type of moments here, but I really like Lois Chiles.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, compared to how Hollywood writes women these days in these types of roles, she still had a certain level of, 70s submission kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But at least she did it with a smile and clear consent, which
yes.
Such an important thing for me. And I think it's an important thing for Roger, to be honest with you. But
I think it mattered to him, honestly.
I really think it did. But I think that her role in this was just, she wasn't a foil. She wasn't almost as good as. She was clearly as good as Bond at everything that she did.
And occasionally better.
And significantly better at swinging gas cans at people in the head. I mean,
right.
Undisputed champion at that point.
That woman can swing a gas can, no doubt.
Hell yeah.
So, then we've got, then we've got Hugo Drax.
Hugo Drax.
Played by Michael Lonsdale in what can only be described as the most conservative acting ever captured. He's so reserved. He's like, cucumber sandwich, Mr. Bond. Can I press you to a cucumber sandwich?
Can I press you to a cucumber sandwich? I love him.
I like him.
When we rated all the bad guys a few years ago, I don't even remember where I put Drax on it, but it was pretty low. Jumped up. Yeah, he's definitely jumped up to maybe third. He can't be better than Zorn, and he can't be better than Silva, because Silva was an amazing acting job. and Christopher Walken. So you're not going to beat him. I don't care how good your delivery is. But honestly, it was like he knew. He was the only Bond villain I've ever seen that knew he was a Bond villain. That's how I felt like. I think he went there going, well, I know I'm a bad guy. I don't need to be flary about it. Everyone knows why I'm here. or he knew Lorne Michaels, maybe, you know. Well, may I press you into a cucumber sandwich, Mr. Bond?
Can I press your face into a cucumber sandwich? Well, the other thing I was wondering is, like, the only time he ever raises his voice and gets really mad is when Jaws defies him at the end. So was it like a choice? He's like, I'm going to play this very, very reserved, and I'm going to save my one moment of rage until the very, very end.
Here's what I can say about Michael Lonsdale. I've seen him in 2 movies that I can actively identify. This one and The Name of the Rose from 1984, I think, or 85, where Sean Connery plays a Franciscan monk.
Yes.
Who was a distant relative of Sherlock Holmes. And Lonsdale plays the head abbot of the abbey that they're having this congregation of scholars come into to help define certain things out of the Bible for people. And his performance as the abbot in that movie is exactly the same performance that you get as Drax in Moonraker. So he may be a Jeff Goldblum, but he's a Jeff Goldblum with some reserve. Not necessarily going to get in there and do the things. So maybe he's got one speed, and that's what you get.
Yeah, it could be. James Mason was originally sought to play Drax, which would have been quite the choice. That would have been interesting.
Oh, my mind is turning with that right now.
I know. Could you imagine? Goodness.
I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Bond.
I'm going to space, Mr. Bond.
May I press you into a cucumber sandwich, Mr. Bond? Should we just go through like older British actors of the era and just do that line for all of them?
So then we've got Corinne Dufour, played by Corinne Clary, and initially this character was named Trudy Parker and was painted as a ditzy Southern California Valley girl. But then
glad they killed that nonsense.
Yeah, no kid. Well, I mean, they went back to it in A View to a Kill, basically, and cut.
But it took place, a good chunk of it took place in San Francisco. It made sense. Yeah. How bad would you have felt for this character if they were a ditzy Valley girl who got eaten by dogs at the middle of the movie? There would have been no impact to it at all.
Right.
So
they'd be like,
everybody would have been like, yeah. Even if she hadn't done that to you, Drax, you probably should have killed her anyway.
Well, I'm glad we don't have to listen to that for the rest of the movie.
Gee, my God. I thought, was she ever going to shut up? Oh, my God. Like, totally gag me with a spoon.
Yeah. Nobody needs to hear that for 2 hours and 7 minutes. So
yeah. No, I mean, even the movie Valley Girl wasn't that long.
Now, I will say, too, one of the things I noticed about this movie, which I really like, is that with the exception of her character, with the exception of Corinne Dufour, all of the women in this movie kind of treat James Bond the way James Bond deserves to be treated.
Yeah.
Did you notice, too, that, like, Moneypenny is kind of not very nice to Bond? Like, Bond says, I fell out of an airplane, and she's like, no, you didn't. Shut up. It's kind of like
there was no flirty anything going on with him, and
nothing.
Everything. She was very on point, straight to the job. He's out in the courtyard.
Yeah,
whatever, Mr. Bullshit Man. I'm tired of you playing with me for the last 10 years. I got better things to do.
Exactly. I have a friend now. I have somebody I'm dating. I don't give 2 shits about you, Mr. Bond. Just stop flirting with me. Oh, you fell out of an airplane. Okay, sure you did.
Of course you did, James. Of course you did. Of course you did.
And speaking of Moneypenny, of course, Lois Maxwell is back in a very minimal capacity, but she's there. Like we said, just kind of a little bit more frosty than usual.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Jaws is back, Richard Kiel. And there's a funny little story to go along with this. Cubby was quoted as saying that we had thousands of letters from youngsters who had asked us to please bring back Jaws. In addition, Lewis Gilbert's grandson brought up the question, why does Jaws have to be a bad guy? And despite the writer Christopher Wood's protests, he eventually did become sort of this lovable doof in the end. So they kind of caved to the people on the issue of Jaws, which honestly I'm kind of okay with. I kind of liked him. I mean, what else are you going to do with Jaws? And
I mean, you're gonna keep bringing it back when every one of the Bond villains is like, sir, I've gone ahead and lost the person that I've normally been using. Who could you bring to me? Could you put me online to henchmen or us, please?
That was such a funny moment in that movie. Like it's just,
oh, yes.
I'm just calling it henchman.
Can get me him? Yes, if you could get him, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. And then we've got Dolly, Jaws' girlfriend, no braces. No braces.
Yep.
Played by French actress Blanche Ravaillac. They initially wanted to find someone even taller than Richard Kiel, but Kiel protested to the point of threatening not to do the movie if they went through with it. And so they found her instead. He even mentioned, too, that his actual wife is of the same size as Dolly. So after they sort of met his wife, they were like, oh, okay, I guess it could work.
Well, it added to the visual dynamic, if nothing else.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. Well, even on the radio at the end, where there's like, we picked up a very large man and a small blonde woman aboard the space station hurtling towards Earth.
Right. Let's not discuss atmospheric reentries and other space stuff until we get there, because I'll probably be too tired to really talk about what I actually want to talk about. Don't get me started this early in the film. We'll never get through it.
Exactly. And other henchmen, of course, we've got Cha, or is listed on IMDb, Chang, played by Toshiro Shuga, who was an Aikido instructor to Michael G. Wilson before then being asked to portray this henchman. So that's kind of an interesting little thing about how he got the gig. But he's
why not
fine. Yeah, I mean, he's fine. He a little typecast, stereotypy, but it's fine. Like, he doesn't stick around for very long. He's kind of one note in that respect. So
yeah, true enough.
And then we've got M. Bernard Lee is back as in his last appearance as M. He signed up actually to do For Your Eyes Only, but passed away in January of 1981 before it could actually happen. So, but he's Bernard Lee. I mean,
the one thing that I liked about M in this movie, I think this is the first time M was really kind of in sync with 007, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't trying to blast him or crucify him. He's like, all right, go do your job. Because they have that little moment in Venice when Bond hands him the vial.
I love that moment. I love it.
Right. And I just remember thinking, he's like, don't screw this up, 007. Both of our heads are on the chop block, everything. And I'm like, this is exactly the moment where, Ray finds his, don't cock it up, 007. And I'm just like, I thought there was a parallel there. You didn't really get that sort of familiarity between Llewellyn and any of the other Bond characters, really.
Yeah.
It was always sort of a kind of an antagonistic, what are you doing, 007 kind of thing. So it's kind of a nice moment. And given that it was his last moment, it was kind of nice to get a little bit of humanity and kind of a touchstone with this guy that he's been working with for all this time.
Yeah. And what I also like, too, is it does sort of harken back to the novel as well a little bit, because I even think about one of the very first scenes in the novel is M and Bond go to a casino together, like almost working in tandem. And so it sort of kind of goes back to the novel. I mean, in a very sort of spiritual way, not in a literal way, but it's just kind of nice that they bring some of those elements in from the novel, since they didn't choose to use anything that was actually story based. Like, they use kind of the spirit of that and like you said, it works out. That scene in Venice is one of my favorite scenes. Like, it is one of those really, especially of the early Bond movies, I feel like this is a great M and Bond scene that isn't just the same old thing, Bond showing up in M's office, yada, yada. Right. This is like M actually doing something. actually sort of working and there's like an actual mutual understanding going on.
Yeah.
And then also, Jason, we've got a whole host of sort of Easter egg type appearances by the Eon crew in this movie. We've got Ken Adam, Cubby Broccoli, Dana Broccoli, each have an uncredited screen appearance in this movie as man, quote, I'm using quotes right here, man at St. Mark's Square, because that's where all the crazy shit happened. They just needed extras to react.
Right.
And then we and then we've got Michael G. Wilson, who makes an appearance 3 times in this movie. He's in it as man outside Venini glass. He makes an appearance as a NASA technician and also man on bridge. I don't even.
The guy that threw the cigarette?
Well, no, that's not him. No.
Well, what other bridge was there?
I don't know. I'm actually, honestly, that's something that maybe one of the 10s can hip us to, or I'll have to go back and research that because I don't recall when he was on a bridge. Michael G, he's just kind of a slender, sort of a slender man with glasses. Usually, he's just kind of, but I don't recall. Anyway.
I'll have to keep this in mind in 10 years when I watch the movie again.
And then also, Lois Maxwell's 22-year-old daughter, Melinda Maxwell, was cast as one of the perfect human specimens for Drax's master race at the end. So we've got all sorts of weird little minor roles played.
At that point, they were spending so much money on special effects, they needed all the free labor they could get.
Exactly. So that's pretty much all the major casting notes I have here. Should we jump into the real movie?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the pre-title sequence. Can I just say first, right off the bat, the gun barrel scene, the flares that he's wearing.
It should have gone like this. It should have gone dong 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 ding 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 dong 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 ding 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 dong dong dong.
Those flares were ding dong crazy, like holy smokes. But anyway,
tell me it's a 1979 Bond movie without telling me it's a 1979 Bond movie.
Exactly. So then we cut to nighttime and we get this mid-air hijack of the space shuttle, which Jason's looking at me already like, this doesn't work. This isn't feasible.
I'm going to say right now that I'm going to let you go into it, and I got to get it out because I had to watch it twice. The space shuttle carries no fuel at any time that isn't attached to it before it launches. So there is no way that those rockets could have fired. Even if they had fuel on the ship, they wouldn't have fuel while it was being carried by the 747. All of it is total fucking bullshit.
Well, I mean, I bet that plane probably couldn't have even carried it if it had the fuel on board it. I mean,
747s are pretty robust.
That's
but
true.
That really wasn't the point. I mean, all the space shuttle is a glider when it gets in atmosphere. So they could have more realistically found a way to unclamp it from the ship
and just have it fall away.
And
almost
just have it glide off to wherever it needed to go, or maybe somebody puts a bomb on the 747. I mean, I don't know. But the problem was, when this was made, the first space shuttle hadn't even come out yet. The Enterprise, which was the test glider, only came out in 1979.
Wow.
So this was all still kind of like, it's coming, y'all. But nobody really got how it worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, you can't, it doesn't work that way.
I do kind of like, though, the fact that they did sort of tap into that like future technology, but like in a way that's very, I mean, aside from hijacking it off of an airplane in this manner, the fact that they got a space shuttle as like the design for the Moonraker shuttle was kind of cool, that they kind of at least grounded the design of the craft in science, not how they stole it, obviously.
Yeah, they clearly didn't know what to do with it once they had the design, but they did have the design. And full marks. The 747 looked like the transport Ford 747, had the bigger stabilizers in the back. I mean, I got no problems with that. I only have problems with the fact that they had a literal rocket attached to the back of the ship with fuel. And anybody who's designed the laser chamber in the Death Star can tell you got to be thinking about safety first, because that's a long fall without any guide rails. All right, I'm sorry. Please continue.
Okay. Well, we've got these two guys in leather coats who apparently had snuck into the sleep bays of the Moonraker. They just look like two goons.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Are those sleeping bays? Are they food carrying things?
They don't even look. Also, the guys that are in there, they do not look qualified to pilot a space shuttle. They look like two goons. They look like they were hired from Henchmen Are Us as well.
Henchmen Are Us. Can you imagine that? Drax is on the phone. He's like, yes, I need 2 henchmen who know how to fly spacecraft. Yes, they'll do fine. Thank you.
It's like Costco for terrorists or something.
Let me give you my membership number.
So they get out of their whatever little bays they're in, and they start up the space shuttle. Just start it up, just turn the key and get it going. And
that's right.
and they're the thrust only, and that's the other part of this. This is the part that bothered me, is that the thrust coming out of the space shuttle only blew up the plane, not also the space shuttle.
Yes, that's also problematic. Particularly, again, on an aircraft that is designed to glide, you would want to separate yourself before you kicked on the engines.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so from an aerospace standpoint, if you did turn on the thrusters, all you were going to do would have been to set off the stabilizer in the back, stabilizer fin, right? There's no fuel back there. So theoretically, you could end the space or the 747's life by doing exactly that. As we all know, when we watch Superman Returns, where Brandon Routh effectively saved the plane from the exact same problem, we know that it would have crashed if Superman had intervened. So I think there's a certain amount of logic to it. If, unlike me, you can get past the fact there should have been zero fuel, there was no fuel because there's no room for fuel. But otherwise, it's cool. Anyway, back to what you were saying.
Okay, so the shuttle takes off the back of the plane. The plane explodes, and I will say in that one moment, it's just like, well, that's a model. Like when the plane kind of snaps in half almost, it's in that one moment where I'm like, the illusion breaks, and I'm just like, okay, it's 1979, just let it go.
Right. I feel like this is where Jerry Anderson's influence may have been felt the most, was in the model building in this.
Yes.
Because that's literally all he did was build models for his shows.
Yeah.
And so I think he may have been producing in a visual effects capacity, particularly when you see Drax's Moonraker base in California, right? That looks very Thunderbirds Are Go. And the launch facility when the shuttles are taking off also has a very sort of Jerry Anderson vibe to it.
Right. You think he maybe sort of like said to like somebody like Mark Meddings, like, hey, what you did is great, but now we need big giant letters that say Moonraker.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can totally show it's not to scale.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
That's what he did.
That's what he did. But no, I'm just saying that I'm saying that the things that look particularly modelly to me in this movie also looked particularly Jerry Anderson modelly to me, from the camera angles that they were shooting with and the lenses.
Right.
So I don't know. But, sorry. Enough about things blowing up that shouldn't have blown up in the first place. I'll stop now until we get to the end.
So now we cut to M's office, and M's in there, and he gets the phone call on the bat phone. I love how his phone is red.
Right.
So M gets the call that the Moonraker has been stolen or it's disappeared. They don't know if it's blown up. They don't know anything. They just know that the shuttle that they were borrowing, that the British government was borrowing from the Drax Corporation, aka the United States, has gone missing. And so now they need to get 007 back to get on the case. So he runs into Moneypenny's office and he's like, Moneypenny, has 007 back from his African mission? And she, of course, says, he's on his last leg, sir. And it immediately cuts to him with his hand going up some air hostess's leg. And we get the cheesy line from her where she's like, any higher, Mr. Bond, and my ears will pop. Which,
I didn't mind that line. I kind of liked it, actually.
It's not too bad. It's fine.
I might try it the next time I'm on a plane with my wife.
Except the roles should be reversed. You should say that to her.
Correct.
So then things quickly turn around for Bond, where suddenly the air hostess turns a gun on him, and then the pilot gets out of the cockpit, and they're putting on parachutes and what have you. And then, of course, Bond tries to fight them, and he manages to kick out the pilot. And this is where, like, there's a lot of there's a lot
some
about
logistical stuff going on here that is not resolved. It's not resolved by the end of the scene.
There are some very unresolved moments in this whole little scene because, one, we never know what happens to the air hostess.
Nope.
And then we never where were they hiding Jaws? Where were the
The only
He's
place
a
he could have
very
been
large man.
They had him stuffed in the lavatory of this executive jet.
Yeah.
He's just probably hunched in there being all miserable with a parachute on, no less.
With a parachute.
And goggles.
Makes no sense at all. Because, I mean, Bond was completely taken aback by this whole thing, which means that he had to have been hiding. That means Jaws had to have been hiding this entire flight, which is absurd to even think about it. Anyway, so Bond fights the pilot, knocks the pilot out of the plane, and then just as he's about to go back into the plane, that's when Jaws gets behind him and pushes him out of the plane. And then I believe Jaws jumps after him shortly thereafter.
I think Jaws jumps out after I think Bond gets the pilot's parachute, right? Unless the pilot fall to his own death.
Maybe that is what it is. Maybe that's the order.
Which is great because you can clearly tell nobody without a parachute is definitely not wearing a parachute under whatever coat they're wearing.
Of course not.
Definitely not.
That being said, Jason, I do like the fact that this preempts all of the Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise-y stuff that went on. They've all done this stuff before, like done by actual stuntmen. It took, I believe, if I remember correctly, when I was talking to you about it, I believe it was like something like 55 jumps that they had to do in order to get the shots that they got for this scene, which is fairly impressive. Like the fact that they did have to do all this stuff. And the footage for it is great. And also, I will say, I have a conspiracy theory, Jason.
Oh, dear. Lay it on me.
So there's a shot of Bond in midair as he's free-falling. And briefly, you see the stuntman's face, and I'll be damned if it doesn't look an awful lot like Tom Cruise.
No.
And I'm like, is this an early cyborg version of Cruise, who's actually the stuntman for Roger Moore midair?
It's a prototype program before they released him out there into the real world with version 2.0.
Exactly. Before Risky Business ever saw the light of day.
Tom Cruise. At a later date, from here, where we are now, Tom Cruise will do a movie. He'll go to space and do that movie on the space station before it comes down, and he'll somehow end up in a time warp, a la it's Interstellar, where he goes back to 1970, and he has to find work while he's out there. So he just ends up becoming a stuntman for all the spy movies. Since everybody's like, no, he's too pretty to play a spy. We can't use him.
They're like, oh, no. Roger Moore can do it.
Yeah, they're going to be like, wait a minute. You're how old? You're a 50-year-old stuntman. You've broken what? Why are you still doing stunts? What do you mean you enjoy it? Okay, fine.
We've got the perfect job for you, though.
Right. Roger Moore would have been been younger than his stunt double if that was the case. That let that sink in.
Yeah. So I digress. So yeah, Bond falls out, where he sort of angles himself towards the pilot, yanks the chute off the pilot, and then kicks the pilot down to his death. And he, as he's free falling, he's struggling to get the chute on. He finally gets the chute attached and everything. And that's when Jaws comes down, tries to grab him. And of course, at that point, he pulls the ripcord and goes straight up and gets away from Jaws. And then we get Jaws, who decides to pull the cord. And of course, Jaws being Jaws, pulls too hard.
Yep.
And tears the cord and no parachute. And then, of course, he falls into a circus tent because what else would you do? I don't know.
I like how when it fades into the title sequence, there's the trapeze net that he falls into in silhouette. And all I can think of is, no, that's not going to stop him from being dead. And yet here he is still alive.
Yeah, well, it's Jaws. He's Jaws.
You know what I'd like to see? I don't know, maybe somebody's done this and I just haven't seen it. Wouldn't it be cool if they did like a graphic novel about how Jaws became Jaws?
Oh my God. An origin story? A Jaws origin story?
Like
that
maybe
would be
he's
amazing.
part of some genetic, experimentation thing that ties into A View to a Kill. Like he was maybe one of the first things that came out of it.
Whoa, that'd be crazy.
His teeth fell out in the process, so they had to put the prosthesis on him. And maybe he's got prosthesis or metal in his bones like Wolverine or something. That makes him stronger and more durable.
Bond punches him in the gut and you hear the
clang.
Bong. Yeah.
Yeah. So taking all the cues from Jaws appearances and turning it into like a really valid story. Or maybe at the end of it, he takes this huge blow to the head that makes him like he was like a genius, like a Zoran type genius, and he takes a blow to the head at the end and just becomes sort of more simple-minded. Or he succumbs to all of the treatments and everything that he had, and it's slowly making him dumber and more dumb, sort of like Flowers for Algernon, where he's super smart that he goes back to not being. Dude, I gotta write this. I gotta write this.
Hey, I mean, MGM is or
Amazon needs content, Benjamin.
They do.
Dude,
we should get on that.
Schedule a meeting. We need to schedule a meeting and write this.
But I digress. So then we go into the Jason.
Sorry.
That's okay. But as Jason, of course, mentioned, that's when we sort of go into the title credits. Very standard Maurice Binder type sequence. It's not amazing.
It's really not.
I think this
kind of plain Jane.
It is. The only thing notable about it is it's kind of the first time that he over gratuitously uses the use of girls on trampolines.
That's fair.
Sort of preempting the Man Show from Comedy Central.
Yeah. Well, there was definitely a sense of space boobies, right? Rocket ship girls with boobies.
They're trying to make them look like they're weightless, so they're floating up on the up part of the arch as they're jumping on this trampoline. That sort of thing.
Artistically, it was fine.
It was fine. It just...
What I didn't like about it is it didn't tie into the movie really in any way.
No, it didn't. And I think that would have helped a lot because I do feel like on a couple of occasions they did manage to sort of tie in what was going on with the movie, whereas this one was just silhouettes, pretty silhouettes, and a good song, and that's about it. So then we're back to the movie, and it starts with Bond coming into Moneypenny's office, and as I mentioned before, Moneypenny doesn't even believe that Bond fell out of an airplane. She's just like, yeah, whatever.
Done with your shit, old man.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Roger Moore at 51 doesn't entirely look like the guy who could survive falling out of an airplane anyway, but...
Fair enough.
So anyway, he goes into M's office, and Frederick Gray, the Minister of Defense, is in there along with Q, and immediately Bond guesses that the mission has to do with the Moonraker news. M sort of starts talking about how the Moonraker, or actually Bond, okay, I'm going to get into this real quick. Bond is such a I know everything guy in this movie. They really play up the know-it-all, almost to an annoying, well, definitely to an annoying degree, like where he just seems to know everything about everything in this movie.
The alternate title to Moonraker could have been Mansplainer.
It really could have been. He mansplains his way through this entire movie. It's like, well, you know what? I'm not real great. I'm not real big on the misogyny for this one. But what if we just make him real mansplaining and just have it be that way?
Like if somebody didn't know what the term mansplain was, you could just show a supercut of him in this movie.
So he starts explaining to M and the Minister of Defense the story of Moonraker, talking about how both the shuttle and the plane have disappeared. But that, of course, is when Q sort of interrupts and says, well, there's more to this story than you might know. It turns out that they found the remains of the airplane scattered across somewhere, I forget.
The Yukon.
In the Yukon, but there's no remains whatsoever of the shuttle. So they are hypothesizing that the shuttle has been hijacked. And so, of course, Bond is tasked with finding out what actually happened. So Bond immediately starts talking about how Drax made the shuttle, so maybe I need to go to California where, to start my investigation. And so that's where he must go. But before he goes, Q gives him a handy dandy little wrist gadget, which proves to be quite useful on a couple occasions.
Absolutely.
Which, honestly, when I was a kid, I thought this was the coolest thing ever.
Sure.
And even now, I'm still kind of kind of cool. Well, and it also kind of reminds me of Spider-Man's web shooter.
Yes. So there was a toy right around that time that was a Spider-Man web shooter thing that you put it in. It was a dart launcher like that, but it had like a web that was folded together. And when you shot it out, the web opened up like a shuttlecock.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And it worked the same way. It was based off of flexing your muscle. You hit a button when you put your wrist back. So you would do like Spider-Man. So because I remember this when I saw it in the movie, I have a very vivid memory of that being like my Spider-Man web shooter that I had.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have killed for one of those toys. It's so funny that there's just certain toys out there that happened that I never got that I always wanted. That would definitely be high up on that list.
That's why it's better to be born in 70 to 74, baby.
But I digress. So then we're in California. It's very quick. That's one thing I will say too about the editing. There's definitely an efficiency about this movie as far as how they cut from scene to scene in this. They don't waste time with travel or anything that isn't entirely necessary, which is probably how they managed to keep it from going beyond the 2 hours and 7 minutes, because this movie already feels kind of long, and if they hadn't have done some of the edits that they did, it would have felt like I still feel like this movie is kind of like Roger Moore's Thunderball to a degree. But more interesting.
Especially maybe towards the end, yeah, for sure. But
just towards the end.
I have to wonder if the large amount of visual effects work, which typically wasn't going to be done before the rest of the movie was done, and maybe if they started editing to get into a certain time frame, they were trying to cut it very lean because they didn't know what was going to need to be in the special effects shots, what was going to make it or not. So they had to cut it. They had to basically cut an hour 40 movie to get around 20 to 25 minutes worth of special effects shots.
Yeah. So now he's in California, and he's getting picked up by Corinne Dufour, headed to Drax's headquarters. And she's like, "Welcome to California, Mr. Bond." And of course, he's immediately flirty. He's like, "Well, I like it already." So they're in the helicopter, and we get this, model shot that Meddings, put together. But then, obviously, the Thunderbirds guy said, well, "Wait a minute, this is too good. Let's put in giant letters, Moonraker."
Moonraker.
To slightly ruin the scale illusion, if you.
Also, here's another thing, and you'll see it throughout here because all the miniatures seem in some capacity to have a radar dish that's spinning.
Yeah.
And it was always spinning at a speed that made it look fake. I mean, most visual effects, when you want to convey scale, you slow things down.
Yes.
So that you feel like you're taking a moment. It's taking you a while to get past it. It's all psychological. And yet there's that little radar dish at the bottom of Moonraker Central that's just like, whee!
Yeah.
I'm radaring! Whee!
Yes.
You know what I can't do? I can't see the space station. Whee!
Well, and it's I'm struggling to remember the name of the filter that makes things look like they're miniature.
Oh, yeah.
But it kind of feels like that.
I've seen it.
When you see those things that are spinning way too fast to scale.
Yes, exactly. So that's how we've all been trained for the last 50 years on how miniatures work. So our brains have trouble. It really stands out at where they were still trying to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I mean, at least you knew where you were.
I suppose so. And then they also managed to do some interesting VFX work, making it look like the Chateau de Vaux in France had magically appeared in California.
Stone by stone.
Yeah. So just preposterous. It's like, okay.
Don't you think Elon Musk could do the same thing if he really wanted?
I mean, he's got the money to do it. That's for sure.
Right. Given what they were trying to illustrate as Drax's being, it's right up there.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, Bond jokes about, well...
Magnificent. Why didn't he buy the Eiffel Tower as well?
He did, but the French government refused him an export permit.
It's like, okay. Yeah,
and that just makes me think about the fact that, does Drax's business still own the Eiffel Tower and A View to a Kill? Or did they have to liquidate everything after he got sucked out of an airlock and somebody else bought it? Like, wouldn't it have been a funny little Easter egg if on the Eiffel Tower brought to you by Drax Industries?
Right. If there was like a little metal plaque that was soldered to one of the beams that said Drax Core.
Yeah. And even if James just walked by, looked at it and went, and then just kept on going.
Yeah. That would have been a nice touch. So anyway, Bond is then led into this place, into this chateau, into the drawing room where Drax is allegedly playing the piano. Allegedly. Now, this bothers me to no end, Jason. So there are people on the internet that are of two minds about this whole thing. One group of people say that Michael Lonsdale just doesn't do a very good job of miming playing the piano, or wasn't given, the music that he was going to be playing, so he couldn't try and mimic what was being played. And there's a whole other group of people on the internet that think that this plays into Drax's character, that he's playing a self-playing piano and using it to impress his guests whenever they come in.
That's kind of what I thought.
Furthermore, emphasizing that he is this madman that just seeks attention and what have you. So it's weird. I don't know. All I know is, for me, it doesn't work at all. It doesn't work in either capacity.
Well, because there's no payoff. It's too ambiguous.
Yeah. So then we get to see the first of what I like to call Drax's hose, because he's got hose everywhere. This man has hose. So and we're not talking nylons, people. That's right. And I mean, man, he even kind of dresses like a pimp when they're doing the duck hunt later on.
He really does.
He kind of dresses like a pimp. I'm just saying.
Like a Teutonic pimp.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we're greeted by Countess Lubinsky and Lady Victoria Devon.
Yes, Lady Victoria Devon.
Lady Victoria Devon. Yes. Yes, indeed. So immediately after saying their names, they just get up and leave because they're just
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So
you are dismissed. Bye-bye.
Yeah. So then we get this first little bit of friction where Drax is basically expecting an apology, and Bond sort of dodges it by saying, well, my government will be issuing an apology to your government.
Yeah, ass.
Yes. Drax is like, oh, very clever, Mr. Bond. Can I press you to a cucumber sandwich? And so it's like, no, no.
I do like the whole thing about the one contribution to the Western civilization.
Yes.
Afternoon tea.
Yes. Which is probably why Bond wants nothing to do with their afternoon tea, because they probably did it really poorly.
Right.
So at this part, we're just sort of doing exposition here where we find out that Drax mentions that he gets parts and people from all over the world to have the best space program. And, we get this weird little moment, too, with his dogs where he throws this raw meat to his dogs and he snaps his fingers, and then the dogs immediately eat the raw meat. And, of course, they speed up the film in a very late 60s throwback moment, which they do have a couple of in this movie.
Sure.
They still use the speedy uppy a couple times in this movie. So then, after they have their little chat, which is kind of frictiony, Corinne comes back to take Bond to see Dr. Goodhead to get sort of a tour of the facility and whatnot. And so after he walks away, we get one of many great lines, as we mentioned before, that Drax gives off during the course of this film. This first one being,
look after Mr. Bond. See that some harm comes to him.
It's so classically Bond.
Yes, but the delivery, man, it's the delivery. It's the delivery and the frog-like croaking that goes along with it that just take it over the top.
Yeah, and maybe I need to sort of appreciate that more Just because when I first saw this, I'm just like, why is he playing this so reserved all the time? But it works that way. I think if he was like maniacal and crazy all the time, you'd be numb to it by the end of it.
Well, that's the thing. Most Bond villains tend to go off the rails pretty quickly into it. And the fact that he just comes off as calm, cool, and collected until someone clearly defies him.
Yes.
At the very end.
Right.
It's like, I'm a guy who's got my shit together. I don't have to yell. I don't have to be demonstrative. I just have to say things and be cool.
And then those things will happen for me.
Exactly. Because he's so rich, everything he wants happens.
Right. It's right there. So he's led to where Dr. Goodhead is, and she walks up to him.
Good afternoon.
Can I help you?
Yes, my name is Bond. James Bond. I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.
You just found her.
A woman?
Your powers of observation do you credit, Mr. Bond.
A woman. in a way that only Roger Moore can say, a woman.
all I could think of when it started was Sean Connery probably would have dropped the doctor.
Oh,
I'm looking for Goodhead. Right? Right out there. And then she would have turned around. You mean Dr. Goodhead? Oh, yes, of course.
Yes, of course. But, so we get that little moment and Dr. Goodhead. And shout out to Lois Chiles for sort of that great acting moment, too, because her face just falls after Bond becomes this dickhead about it. She's just sort of like, oh, okay, this is the type of guy that I have to deal with. All right, well,
and she does it again when he starts mansplaining too. She's like, you insufferable fuckhead.
So she takes him to the shuttle, and then as you said, like as she starts to explain the Moonraker, Bond interrupts and finishes her sentence and starts mansplaining all this stuff. He's like, yes, I know all this. I think it's weird because it's like half Bond is purposefully trying to get under her skin.
Uh-huh.
And half of it is just sort of like, I wonder if there was sort of a pressure back then to make it be like, well, we can't have this woman who, I don't know what's going on in the head of Cubby and all those people back then, but
No, you really can't tell, can you? So
yeah,
you just get mansplainy Bond and take it as take it for what it's worth.
Right. I'd like to think that it's all intentioned by Bond as being like, I'm going to get under this woman's skin and she's going to eventually like be forced to like me because right now I'm just sort of going to poke the bear a bit,
Yes.
So then she takes him to the centrifuge training room where Bond continues to try and mansplain what's going on in that room as well. And then she's like, oh, really? Hotshot, you want to step in? And why don't you give it a try? And he's like, fine. And he can't resist he can't resist not, trying to meet the challenge.
Right.
So he gets in and there's a great line by Bond in here where as she's strapping him in and she's telling him about how at 3 Gs, I forget what it is for 3 Gs.
The shuttle launch is 3 Gs.
Yeah, when the shuttle launches, it's 3 Gs, but most people pass out at 7 Gs, and that it can go up to 20 Gs, but that would kill you. So then she shows him the chicken switch, and then Bond is sort of making faces and whatnot, and she's like, come on, Mr. Bond, even a 70-year-old can handle 3 Gs. And then he says a great line in this movie where he's like,
come on, Mr. Bond. A 70-year-old can take 3 Gs.
Well, the trouble is there's never a 70-year-old around when you need one.
There's never a 70-year-old around when you need one.
Well, not for another 10 years at least. Just kidding.
So then he gets in, and of course, Cha goes over to the guy that normally runs the machine and gets him to leave, and he unplugs the chicken switch underneath the control board, and then he starts cranking it up, and Raj starts spinning, and we get Roger Moore's G-face, aided by, I'm guessing, like an air pressure. They're blowing they're blowing air on his face, which is fun. And then, he gets to 12 Gs and nearly blacks out. We get that cool kind of edit moment where he starts flashing to remember that he's got the wrist dart shooter thing.
I liked that.
Yeah, I thought that was a well done little bit of editing there to sort of let you know what he's thinking, very quickly. So he shoots that and it shorts out the machine and stops it. And then, of course, he stumbles out. And he does a pretty good job of stumbling out and looking disheveled, but still looking cool at the same time. Is that even possible?
Right.
But it feels like it.
Well, and I just want to point out, one of my pet peeves of this film was how you could shoot a control console that isn't really attached to anything and make something stop. Like, the pilot shoots the instruments in the airplane and blows out the altimeter, but suddenly it's not flyable after that.
I know. And it's the same thing
Bond
with this.
That's what I'm saying. He shoots the thing, which was just a display panel. Nothing's controlling it, but suddenly it starts to slow down.
Not to mention the fact that Cha had just disconnected the chicken switch thing, which probably disconnected any control that little pod had over the whole thing.
So I just want to say,
because we're those guys that have to.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of shooty. Oh no, it doesn't work anymore. The only thing that genuinely doesn't work when you shooty it is people.
That's right.
and other soft, fleshy creatures.
That's right. But we digress. So then we get this moment at night where, honestly, the first time I watched this, I was confused by the geography of Drax's chateau. Like, I didn't quite figure out what exactly. I'm like, wait, is Corinne like brushing her hair in his office? Like, wait, what? And then I realized, no. Anyway, so Bond just sort of brazenly goes into Corinne's bedroom, and oh my God, we get I think this is no, it isn't. It goes all the way back to The Man with the Golden Gun. Roger Moore's Bond has an obsession with, I need information. He's very obsessed. He loves himself some information. Nobody's Bond loves information more than Roger Moore's Bond.
Well, he's got to tell it to people, right? So you can't tell it to him if you don't have it.
That's right. So he goes in and she's combing her hair in her nightie or whatever, her little nightgown, and she's thinking he wants which
he does.
She wants it more than he does. But then she lists off this list that her mother gave her about rules, no-nos on a first date, which he's like, well, listen, that's all good and fine, but I'm actually here to get information off of you. And I almost felt like she's like, well, I'll give you information if you go to bed with me. It almost felt like that. It almost felt like a reverse sort of situation with her. So she's then sort of, before they, do their adult activities, she basically mentions that something secret is going on at the Moonraker plant in other laboratories, but it was all recently moved, and he's asking where it went, and she's like, well, I don't really know. And then she lays back and she's sort of implying like, well, if you give me what I want, I'll give you more of what you want.
Right.
Which apparently is not sex in this particular moment, which he even says afterwards, because, that's the other thing, as they're lying back, we find out that Corinne can't read. So because as he's about to bed her, he says, what about that list of your mother's? And she's like, I never learned to read.
Well, I think that might have been a little more playful.
Yeah, probably. So then we cut and she's asleep because, Bond did his thing, knocked it out, man. So he gets up and he walks out into Drax's study. And he starts looking around for information. And she comes out and finds him there. And again, he's like,
you whetted my appetite for information.
I had no idea that sex would whet his appetite for information. But okay, sure.
I mean, sex is just his job, right? So
yeah.
Sex is sort of like what he does at work. Information is his hobby.
That's right. So anyway, he's looking around, he finds the clock. Or actually, even before that, he asks if there's a safe anywhere in the room. And she sort of, I don't know if she looks at it. I don't remember if she gives it away or not.
She glances towards it. Towards it.
So he goes over there and he opens stuff, and eventually the safe comes out of it. And then he breaks out his fancy little cigarette holder that is also an X-ray machine, so he can... So
I do like how he holds it up to her heart after he opens up the safe.
Yeah, and she's like 18 karat gold.
That's right.
So he breaks out the documents that are inside, and they've got the blueprints to some of the things on the Moonraker.
You mean the exposition blueprints?
It's 100% exposition blueprints.
That not only tell you about the octangular glass structures and the globe, but where everything went to.
Yes.
Right there up in the corner of the expeditional blueprint.
Yes, perfectly in frame.
This may not be the first time. This may not be the first time where Bond is going next is blatantly obvious.
Right. Exactly. So he takes pictures of all the plans, all the blueprints with this handy dandy engraved, I might add, 007 mini camera, which, man, listen, 007 store, you waste your time with all these really overly expensive things. Make a little camera like that and make it Bluetooth compatible with your phone. How cool would that be? I'm just saying. I got ideas. We got ideas, man. Me and you. We got
a Jaws origin story.
Yes.
We got an idea for a spy camera to be sold at a ridiculously high price. When we're not making entertaining digital media, we're idea guys.
That's right.
We got ideas.
We got ideas up here. Anyway.
We got ideas.
So he takes the pictures, he puts away the stuff, he closes the safe, and he basically thanks Corinne for her services. And she thanks him, and they go their separate ways.
She got the payment she wanted, Ben.
She did. She truly did. I mean, clearly. So we then cut to the next day, and we're out fowl hunting with Drax in his pimp daddy suit that he's in.
With a cape, no less.
With a cape, man. Did he have a cane, too?
No cane.
Was he wearing
just a shotgun? But he had the little black hunting cap with the little feather in it, man. And he had the cape action going on in the tweed suit.
I mean, all you needed was some, like, Isaac Hayes or some something like that playing while he's out there.
A little bit of a purple vest to go under everything else to just sort of like...
Yeah, that would have just
a little flashy, Daddy.
That would have completed the outfit.
Or the hat could have been purple.
So Bond is driven out to meet him, and as soon as he gets there, one of his goons sort of lets him know that Bond is there, and he goes off into the trees with a rifle to start positioning himself to take aim at Bond. And then we get the weird 2001 Space Odyssey bugle call, which is like, oh, they got the license for that too.
Well, to be honest, I think it's open domain, so anybody could technically use it.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I did not know that. So, yeah. So he does the 2001 Space Odyssey bugle call. So then Bond meets two more Drax hoes.
And every one of them is titled. Have you noticed that?
Yes. Oh, they all have titles.
There's a duchess and a countess. And because it was La Signorina, the Lady del Mateo. I mean, it was like, who are all of these people?
I know. So we've got Mademoiselle Deladier and La Signorina del Mateo. And they also he says their name, and then that's their cue to leave.
Sure. With their capes.
With their capes as well. Everybody capes for everyone. We should all have capes.
Mr. Bond, would you like for me to have them bring you a cape?
Are you cold, Mr. Bond? It's cold in space. Would you like a cape? So then it's kind of interesting too, because Drax almost seems more warm to Bond in this moment, but maybe it's because he knows that Bond's about to get shot or something. But he's much more here. Come on, Mr. Bond, let's go shooting. Here, have a rifle and what have you. And so they go out there and they do something. We see a bunch of birds go by and Bond starts to take aim, but of course he turns and hits the guy in the tree. And arguably the best line from Bond in this movie.
Over there. You missed, Mr. Bond.
Did I? As you said, such good sport.
Oh, yes.
Just definitely, that's the one moment where we get some classic James Bond dialogue coming out of Roger Moore that isn't super hammy It's actual.
Exactly. It's like, look at me be a badass motherfucker.
That's right. I could do this all day if you wanted me to, but instead you're writing me to be who I am.
Yeah. In case you're wondering, Mr. Drax, I don't actually need to have shotgun shells in this shotgun to kill you immediately.
That's right. So then Bond leaves after that. And literally right after that, Corinne rocks up and she gets fired. And then Cha sicks the dogs on her.
Oh, yeah.
So not to be a super nerd like I told you when I was originally watching this, Jason, but I have to tell the tens. It's so obvious. When she first starts running into the forest, you see her ankles kind of roll because she's wearing heels and whatnot. But as soon as they do the reverse angle from inside the forest, she's clearly wearing tennis shoes at that point. So she can run better as she's evading the dogs.
Right.
Not only was she wearing tennis shoes, but she was also wearing black knee-high socks instead of something that didn't completely stick out quite so bad.
Yep, them continuity people. We didn't need a continuity person at all on this production.
Nope. It's fine. It's all fine.
It's fine. Did it take away from the movie? Not at all.
Actually, it was added value, Jason. Added value.
It was. It was depth. It gave you something else to look at on multiple watchings.
That's right. Something that my wife actually pointed out, that she was the one that initially saw it.
It's not one of the only costuming gaffes that there are in this movie either. There were some weird continuity things with Roger's suit. When he goes up to the cable car and he's walking up there, the collars are firmly tucked under the blazer, but as you see him coming around, going up the hill, Butterfly Central, baby.
Yeah. Well, these things happen. They spent all their money on models and shit. So
yeah, we didn't need a continuity consultant. We just needed pretty girls.
That's right. So then she gets killed by the dogs, which is kind of honestly, it felt like just for a half a second, it was like, wow, am I in a horror movie or something? It was like, wow. Okay.
Right? It was an unexpectedly violent moment in a movie that had been pretty benign up to that point.
Very much so, yeah. And then that sort of transitions into the bong, bong, and then suddenly we're, Venice. We're in Venice now.
Venice.
And that kind of takes us into Act 2.
Act 2. Venice. There were a number of locations here that we did get to see in Last Crusade. I'll put that out right now.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, well, the docks, for one thing. I'm pretty sure those are the same docks that he came in when he meets Allison Doody.
Oh, okay.
At the beginning. And I'm pretty sure he's in the big square at some point, too, as well, when he comes out of the grate from underneath.
Isn't that where, I think that's where Cha dies, when he falls to his death? I bet that's the same area.
Yeah, I think so.
When Cha lands in that piano or whatever.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think it's a movie I can watch now that's in Venice that I don't immediately just start looking for anything that was in Last Crusade. Because apparently Last Crusade is my brain's reference point for Venice.
Right.
But anyway, so...
Not Casino Royale.
Now that, not Casino Royale. No. So now that Bond was able to develop the photos from his expositional blueprints,
yes,
he's realized his next stop is going to be Venice, Italy, looking for the Venini Glass Company.
Yes.
He pulls up in his personal gondola being driven by Franco. We all know Franco, the gondola driver. Where he's like, I'll call you later, Franco, and let you know where I'm going to be. Although Franco just seems to magically appear, so maybe that's why he's Bond's driver. I don't know.
Well, he's reliable.
It's interesting to think that maybe It's interesting to think that maybe MI6 has to train some of their operatives to be gondoliers.
Right? They have to go through gondolier training if they're going to be in Station V.
That's right, because the pole for the gondolier was actually a potato launcher or something that Q ginned up or something like that. So they needed special training. He had to maintain the gondola in the interim. So he was not only the driver, but he was also the mechanic.
I love that you just called it the gondola. I haven't heard that one before.
Really? Because that's what everybody on the internet called it. I would have thought you knew that already.
Wow. Okay. Somehow I missed that one.
Seems pretty natural on that. But anyway, so he pops out looking suave as ever, heads over to the clearly marked Venini Glass Company with the nice brown awning, right? Not hard to find Venini glass.
Yes.
He walks in, and there's a blonde receptionist sitting at the desk looking incredibly bored at her job.
Yes.
Probably because she works for Drax. Probably because she's like a princess or a contessa or a duchess of.
Clearly.
And she's being sent to do menial work at a glass factory. Oh,
right.
They never taught me this in prep school. This is so boring. Oh, my God.
Yes.
But anyway, strikingly lovely young woman.
Yes, she probably thought that she was too pretty to deserve to have to be the front desk person anywhere.
Probably. I mean, she gets her moment in the sunshine later, but...
this is true. This is true.
So she's just there looking like she should be filing her nails or something. I mean, that's how bored she looks when Bond walks into the glass shop. And she immediately pops up to him and, you know, asks him, if you see anything you like. And Bond's like, well.
Of course. I'm going to tee you up right now. Just let you.
Right. And he's like, I think I'll take a look around first if you don't mind. And she's like, that's fine. Then immediately makes for the back. Well, I think she tells him, feel free to go wherever you want to go. So he immediately says, okay, I'm going to go in the back where I shouldn't be. And she doesn't say anything.
Right. Right. He's just allowed to go all the way back there to where they're blowing glass by hand.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See ya. And I mean, I'm pretty sure off screen she calls Drax and
sure.
It's like, that handsome British gentleman is here. What would you like me to do? And Drax is like, don't worry, I'm sending someone now. But anyway, Bond goes back. He's watching a bunch of glaziers do glazier stuff. And he sees that the one guy is working from a mold, looking at an octagonal glass. I mean, it looks like you could drink out of it, like it was from Star Trek or something.
Right.
And then directs his attention over to a bunch of crates where there are a bunch more of them that are already formed and everything like that. So he's sort of like he's seeing what he saw on the blueprints kind of come to life. So, you know, one more clue that something is going on. He kind of walks through, and it's kind of funny because there's a sign in Italian that's on the door that's up there. It's like Museum of Rare Antiquities or something, Glass Antiquities, you know, like,
right.
This is where Indiana Jones would go, actually. So who knows? But he goes back into an area of the glass shop, which is actually a museum.
Yes.
With lots of very old and very expensive glass works that have been done over the centuries. And please keep that in mind because it will be important later. As he walks back, a very attractive blonde tour guide comes in leading a bunch of, which I can only guess are Americans by the way they're dressed, and explaining to them that, hi, this is very expensive, and this would be in 1 million American dollars, because we all know back in 1979 that was the best kind of dollar.
That's right.
But we go through this whole thing about this blue bowl that was made in the 1500s that's worth $1 million, and there's a little sensor on it. Don't try and take it. Well,
it's funny how, like, it's funny how not secure it is. You know, it's like,
right.
Oh no, I picked it up and now this tiny little alarm is going off. It's not secured in plexiglass. It's not.
No security guards show up to do anything about it. It's just, there's an alarm. I'll run away.
Yeah, right.
And Bond's watching this whole tour, and he's actually behind this gigantic vase where he's kind of a little weirdly funhouse distorted.
Yeah.
Like, James, just step to the left or step to the right, and everything will come much clearer. But as he's looking through, he sees that Holly Goodhead is also walking around on the tour wearing a very sparkly dress for a glass tour, I'm going to say right now.
Yes.
But as he sees her, he's like, well, I think I should follow her and see what's happening. Ooh. Right. So he follows Holly out on the streets of Venice, and as she's looking at a building, he comes over. 4th century, I believe.
Oh God! He goes back into mansplaining mode.
Right. I'll refrain from going into the entirety of the architecture, the name of the architect, and the guy who did that particular stone right there. But hello, darling. Right?
Yes. And immediately she's just like, okay, this asshole again.
What an insufferable boor. But they get a little bit of chitty chatty, a little bit of the flirty, will they, won't they kind of action going on there.
Yeah.
Where she says something that's kind of funny. It's like, I don't like being spied on. I'm like, because you're a spy. We've all figured out you're a fucking spy. It's not. Nobody is surprised later in the movie when we find out you're a goddamn spy. Okay, 007 knew it. And you know what he did? He told every single one of us because that's what he does.
That's right. He had to mansplain it to us all.
I have a bit of information for you. Holly Goodhead is a spy. We're all like, no shit, 007. Anyway, so he wants to talk to her to get additional information, but we find out that she's there to give a conference to the European Space Agency. Well, they call it the European Space Commission. It's the European Space Agency. But
I just call it the Spacey Space Convention.
Spacey Space Convention, sure. Why not? Why not? He asks if he can take her out to dinner. That's when we find out that she's going to be appearing there. And he says, well, surely you can't find a reason to not have a drink with me later. And she's like, no, not right now I can't. So, but I'm sure I can think of something. One. Right? And so she goes off and he's like, oh, Franco, you're right here where I needed you to be, and hops into the gondola as it will. And of course, I love this shot of just Franco pulling him down in the, and he's all just chilled out.
He's just chilled. He's not doing anything. He's just kind of like, Venice. It's just
exactly.
Chilling.
And I mean, all I can think of it there's Venice, and that's also Last Crusade, and that's their fault. But nevertheless, all he was doing was taking a tour of Venice, and then these motherfuckers show up.
I just ruined his one little touristy moment.
Right. So here we go. They're going down the gondola. A boat's coming over, a funerary procession boat. There's a coffin on top of it that looks like it has a gun on the crest, and it's going through. And as it's coming up to old Uncle James there, thing opens up. Creepiest looking thug in the movie, I might add.
Oh, yeah. They definitely tried to make him look a little like Dracula, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But he opens up, and I love how all the knives rotate up with him as he comes up.
Yes.
Like there's a plethora of blades mounted into the top of the coffin, but then a rolling thing with more knives shows up. And he just straight up Christopher Lee's it, man. He's not like, no arms. He's like, hello, children of the night. And he grabs a knife.
It's so elaborate. That coffin is
it really
so elaborate.
Is. The whole scene was just like, this will be funny if. And then I think what happened is after they filmed it, they're like, it may not be funny enough. Let's do the dad joke afterwards. But
right. Oh God.
Anyway, so this guy gets up. He throws a knife at Bond. Bond sees him. The knife misses. Bond grabs the knife, throws the knife back at the Bond. Does not miss. Goes right into the guy. Guy dies. Falls back in the coffin. Coffin closes. The end.
The end. That's it. That's the only payoff for this elaborate coffin scene.
Except for the joke at the end, where for some reason the boat is too high with the coffin to get under a bridge. It was fine with the other bridges, but not this bridge, and it knocks the coffin down into the water.
Of course.
So that we get the cigarette smoking guy smoking a cigarette. What the hell? And then he's like, coffin, ha, whatever.
Ha ha, coffin over a coffin. Ha ha, get it?
Right.
Coffin
now,
over a
right.
coffin.
Exactly. And so I can't remember. Maybe I don't remember. Did Franco didn't get killed by the knife guy, right? Franco got caught by the thugs in the cart, or the. Did he?
Yeah, Franco got.
Okay, gotcha. He kills Franco with a knife. MI6's greatest gondolier died too soon in the service of his country. Thank you, Franco. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Franco.
But
you were a well-trained gondolier.
Indeed. But fortunately, we didn't need him because guess what, folks? The gondola is actually a speedboat. So
that's right.
007 looks at the
and much more.
Right? And much more. So out comes whipping a speedboat out towards the gondola now, Indiana Jones style, I guess, though it's James Bond style since this came first. But out it comes with a bunch of, shall I say, stereotypical looking mafiosa thugs with their black suits.
Yes, very much so. Just goons.
Oh, yeah. So Bond goes over, flips a couple switches in the boat. All of a sudden, it's a speedboat. He's speedboating. Yep. No problem. And so he goes taking off in the gondola. The guys in the boat are following him. pew, pew, pew.
Yes. And I will say, too, in this moment, this is one of those few moments that I mentioned earlier where the insert shots are painfully obviously shot on a soundstage. Like, just...
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
I mean, there's still some pretty good shots of Roger in the boat. I mean, getting wet and doing some of the bits in there. But I mean, it's kind of an uninspired boat scene, really, because it's halfway through they have to cut into the coffin joke. I mean, it's just like they kind of know this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, everything is played for laughs in it. I mean, including the other gondola that gets chopped in half, where the gondolier is still smooching. Yeah, and then the gondolier is like going down with the ship, like trying to still paddle away as he's sinking.
all of this is to get to the big payoff where Bond finally loses the bad guys by kicking his gondola from a speedboat into a hovercraft.
A hover gondola.
A hover gondola. With a steering wheel, no less. And so he gets to the big dock again, comes up, inflates the airbags, drives onto it, and then it's just James Bond driving what looks like to be a 15-foot gondola with an airbag through the square and getting reaction shots everywhere. Pigeon double take, disapproving dog, cast member, producer, somebody's
tipsy
daughter, tipsy tourist, everything you ever need to have in this one shot.
Yeah, not to mention at the very end, the bad guys are so mad that one falls out of the boat as they're turning around.
Yeah,
just to cap off this comedy section.
That's literally all it was. The whole thing was designed less about action and more about playing for laughs.
Yeah.
And showing off a gadget.
Yeah, it's very almost 60s Batman-y.
It did have a campiness about it.
Yeah.
But, typically when they do something like this where they put that humor in a chase scene, it really slows the movie down.
Yeah.
At least that's been my impression of the ones I've seen in Bond films and such. But this one, I think, they put it at the right point in the movie.
Yeah. I felt like this one was pretty snappy.
Yeah. Well, they had a lot of good hard cuts. They weren't staying on a lot of things to sell the jokes. There was some real action that was involved. So none of it was bad. It's just...
And the scene right before it was really slow. And this was actually faster than that. So it helped.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a palate cleanser to kind of get us to the end of Bond finding out and getting us to Bond acting on what he finds out kind of thing. So it was effective. It was a little doofy, but it was effective. So now we cut back to nighttime. Bond's going to do some nighttime Venini glass exploring.
That's right, little sneaky Bond.
A little bit of sneaky Bond. Shows up in what I was not able to ascertain if it was the gondola that he put back into the water, but he's pretending to be a gondolier because I think he grabbed Franco's hat because it fell in the boat.
That hat.
But so I like how somebody must have said somewhere in like 1973 that men don't wear hats anymore, so James Bond can't wear hats anymore. So he can't do the hat on the coat rack gig when he goes to see M. So it's like, how could we get him to be able to throw a hat and have it stick somewhere? Let's make him a gondolier.
I wonder if that is the inspiration for that.
It has to be, because he tossed it, and it landed right where it needed to land.
Yeah.
But so... Bond's in his, he's doing to do sneaky stuff because he's in all black, right? We know immediately.
Yes, of course.
Unless there's a little white, he's all about sneaky.
Honestly, though, that's a badass outfit he's got on.
Oh, no doubt.
I actually think that's one of the better outfits that Roger Moore wears in this movie, I think.
For sure. It kind of harkens back to his Live and Let Die turtlenecky kind of togs thing without being overtly military, I think. But so Roger gets into the building. He gets up to the next level. And while he hides in a closet, and believe me, folks, don't read anything into that. While he's hiding in a closet, he sees a guy who is clearly a central casting scientist dude. This guy can't play anything but a scientist in any movie.
Right.
They literally put him in a fire extinguisher box that says "break if scientist is needed," and
they got him at the Costco store as well.
They did. Yeah, it's like, oh, I see that you're having a sale on henchmen and evil scientists. I'll take 2. So he sees a scientist guy use a keypad to get in there. And of course, the 5-tone digits on there are the tones that the people use to communicate with the spaceship in Close Encounters of a Third Kind. Funny thing about that, I read that Cubby Broccoli actually called Steven Spielberg to ask them if they could use the 5 tones in the movie.
Really?
Yeah. Asked for permission to use them, which
wow.
I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I'm sure Steven could be like, sure, why not? But Steven Spielberg didn't own that music.
Oh.
Right. The studio owned that music, right? John Williams wrote it. There's no screen credit for it, by the way, either. At the very end, I did stop to check to see if it was in there.
Really?
Yeah, they also didn't reference the 2001 as a music credit either. So probably because neither of them are long enough that they had to have any mention on them. But either way.
Interesting.
Cubby wouldn't let him direct any Bond movies, but he would take his music to make his space movie funny.
Well, he was pretty ruthless.
Yeah. Well, the note that they had in there is when Spielberg did Goonies, he asked Cubby if Cubby would let him use the Bond thing for Data. Because, he was Wei Kwan's character was a big James Bond thing with all the gadgets. And Cubby was like, well, it's significantly more than 5 notes. And then was like, bah, sorry, Steven, of course you could use right?
Well, the other part of that, though, is you're dealing with Monty Norman, who is extremely litigious about that theme song. Extremely litigious.
That's fair. But, he got it. It's in the movie.
So there you go.
I think at that point in time, nobody said anything. Nobody said no to Steven Spielberg, even by Goonies. He was Steven Spielberg.
Right, exactly. I mean, you put something in a Steven Spielberg movie, it's only going to help you.
Right.
So.
And let's face it, he was tracking to his own little Hugo Drax level in Hollywood at that point. So he had full expectation he would get whatever he wanted. So anyway, Bond goes over, hits the keys on the keypad. Straight-faced, I might add, which I think is... The reaction shot comes later with M and the minister.
Yes.
When he does it.
I kind of wonder if that was one of those things where maybe they didn't know that that's the tones that they were going to initially use. And then when they went back to shoot that scene, they were like, yeah, just in case we get the jingle from Close Encounters, we need a reaction shot where you're like,
I was thinking the same thing. It's almost as if somebody realized there were 5 notes. And because Cubby had some directive that said, we want to make this as spacey as possible.
Yes.
Well, let's put in 2001. Of course. That's free. We love that.
Right.
What else can we do? What about the tones from Close Encounters? Well, there's 5, but probably somebody owns it.
Yeah. And that came out 2 years before this movie. So it was right there in the mind of everybody.
Exactly. So that actually makes perfect sense. But Bond uses the magic tones to James Bond and the magic tones.
I love it.
So James keys in the codes. He goes in and realizes he's in a laboratory that looks, let's be fair, like it came straight off of the Death Star.
Yes. Holy cow.
My God. Gray panels with the fake little slidey lights and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I rewound it a couple times, look back and say, did they just crib some stuff from Star Wars like they've done in other movies like Superman? Or they just pulled stuff from Pinewood's stock?
I mean...
It looked all new, though. I mean, admittedly. It was definitely the right aesthetic, but I think it was all kind of brand new. So I'm sure somebody said, let's make this room look Star Wars-y.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll appeal to the youths.
Yes, to the youths. To the teens of today.
Yeah, to those kids, so they'll want to come back and watch James Bond again with their parents' money. But he finds a little hidey hole, and he's watching the scientists using remote controls to fill vials with a substance. Those substances then go into the little glass hexagons that he saw before, and those hexagons are being placed into globes, which appear to be part of some evil, nefarious plan. Because who's going to not... If you see somebody put glass vials into glass tubes into a glass globe, something nefarious is going to happen.
Yes, absolutely. Glass plus glass globe equals nefarious.
Nefarious, and also not very safe, as we will find out momentarily.
At all. This glass is the most fragile shit. Well, hold on. The glass is equal parts super, super fragile and also equal parts super strong if you're in a fight with a henchman.
Correct. So, why glass in the first place? I mean, I'm sure we know that the vials have got evil in them, and it's going to have to be dispersed in some way. But I feel like there's other options there that are less volatile than glass.
Yeah.
However, if we didn't have glass, we wouldn't get the really bitchin' scene that's about to come up. So,
indeed,
the 2 scientists walk off. I think either to get a coffee or to see where they want to make dinner plans for. I don't know. But Bond goes over.
I think that's what it is. They're wheeling away the first of the globes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, so either way, they leave, which is good because it gives 007 a chance to be less sneaky, more direct.
Yes.
He goes over, he looks at the vial, he takes the vial, I'll take that. And he's looking at some of the glasses. But in the process of doing it, he actually leaves one of the vials in the open as the scientists come back, and he goes and hides in the control room. And of course, clumsy scientists, they're just like that, aren't they? They're so clumsy. They knock one of the poison vials over, and they die. Oh boy, did they die. And James is safe in the control room, but they die.
Well, I do. You know what? I do like that moment, though, when the smoke comes up and there's like a little alarm that goes off in the control room that Bond's in, and he looks over at the door, and you see the door like inflate under in the seam of the door,
the air
so
can't
that
get out. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that moment actually.
Yeah, that was like, oh no, we're fucked. Don't fuck everybody else. But they die. And of course, they die, but then you see these lab rats that are being exposed to the same thing, but the lab rats don't die.
Yes. So you're like, I wonder if I'm going to find out about this later.
Is this a piece of the puzzle I should remember for later?
Yes, it is, Jason.
Indeed, it is. And so Bond, knowing what it does, throws it into his pocket, because it'll be safe there.
Oh, sure. In a loose shirt like that?
In a loose shirt where it couldn't possibly fly out, get hit by somebody, nothing. Because obviously, James is just going to walk away scot-free here. Duh.
That's right. He's never going to run into an Aikido instructor and,
No. Not going to be running with a wooden sword and who's going to take him to school. But sadly enough, James was incorrect. For as he's leaving the laboratory, in comes Cha in his full Aikido outfit, mask. He's got the bloomy pants. He's got the wood sword. He's ready to woo-ha, cha-cha, and starts woo-haing and cha-chaing. And as many of you may have guessed, as Ben and I did when he walked into the Museum of Glass, the fight ends up going into the Museum of Glass. So much glass was broken at this museum that I don't think they would be able to sort out how much cost $1 million and how much was just protecting the stuff that cost $1 million, because there was a lot of broken glass. I think I alluded to this way back, but this is the full extension of the water cooler in The Office in an action movie. If you see something made of glass that somebody puts any amount of focus on, that fucker's going to break later.
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be a payoff at some point down the line. Also, this may have broken a record in terms of the most amount of sugar glass broken in a single scene.
Right? It was sheer insanity. I mean, the funny thing is in Never Say Never Again, when he has the fight scene in the chemist office or the laboratory.
Oh, yeah,
very similar.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel as gratuitous as this scene felt like. It's like, oh, there's some glass. Ooh, we left some over there.
Yeah, we missed that. Slide Chaw across this table and then have him land in the other glass bookshelf thing.
Precisely. And to add more to it, for some reason there's a glass-handled sword in this museum that's just laid out on a table with two gauntlets. And so James picks up this glass-handled sword to fight the wooden sword. And I'm going to say right now, I have never seen Roger Moore look more effective in a fight scene than he did holding that sword in his hand. He clearly knew how to fence in some capacity.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. That's his best fight work in any movie, maybe. The only other moment I can think of is we talked about it actually like years ago already in our Octopussy review. There's a fight scene in Octopussy that Roger Moore does really well with, but I think this is even better than that. I think he definitely knows how to handle an actual fencing sword.
An actual sword. Yeah. Even when he threw that knife in the gondola.
Mm-hmm.
So he may have an aversion to firearms, but clearly Sir Raj didn't have as much of an aversion to bladed weapons.
Indeed.
Which kind of makes him even cooler.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he takes the sword and he chops down Cha's sword with his. And I'm like, that's so cool. I doubt that sword would be that sharp, but that is so cool. I don't even care. So I think he gets desorted.
Yes.
And then makes a beeline for a rope that's hanging into the second floor and goes to scale the rope to get up to the second floor in the storage area, whereas Chaw's like, well, no, there's stairs.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and take the stairs while you struggle to get up to the top.
Well, let me intervene real quick and mention that there's a moment of pause right after all the glass is broken in the museum. The one piece of glass that's not broken, it's the vial. The vial is just fine. There's an insert shot of the vial because he looks at it and then puts it right back in his pocket again. It's like, oh, well, that's fine there. That's safe there, clearly, because it survived this entire fight.
It's definitely not $1 million glass. That's all I'm saying, right?
That's right.
Let me say that Roger's transition from the main floor to the next floor, where he's climbing up the rope.
Yes.
They did such a good editing job that I almost thought he climbed all the way up on his own. But on the second watching, I realized he was just going up one and then up one more for the next scene where then he jumped off.
Right.
But in my brain, I kind of hope he did do like 2 or 3 pulls to get up to the top before he got there. I know he didn't, but I want to think he did. And so we end up now on the next floor with Bond and Chaw in what I like to call the warehouse of exposition. Because every single crate has a Drax label on it that says it's going to, where's it going, Ben?
Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro. So where do we think James Bond's going next, Ben?
Rio de Janeiro?
Rio de Janeiro. So as if breaking a bunch of glass cabinets with glass in it wasn't enough, let's start tussling around and breaking all the cardboard so we can see, oh, look, there's a globe. Surprising no one. But it starts going to fisticuffs at this point, where the two of them are just kind of throwing each other around. Eventually, we get to the giant clock that's in front of the office that they're in, or the building that they're in.
Yes.
Beautiful stained glass clock, by the way.
Yes. I believe the one where they also hooked up a electrical wire to harness lightning power to get 1.21 gigawatts later on.
Well, now, Ben,
I digress.
that was in Hill Valley, California, not in Venice, Italy.
Right.
It was just straight up white glass, not stained glass. So apparently you are incorrect, sir. But anyway, this stained glass was not terribly resilient because Bond throws his ass out the window. And as Ben alluded to earlier, Chaw falls into a grand piano. Head first. That was being played by a quartet that were singing opera in front of a bistro, and Mr. Bond gets the wonderful line that is,
"Play it again, Sam." Ugh,
play it again,
bad.
Sam. The dumbest line in the movie, I think, to be sure.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly gave all the good lines to Michael Lonsdale.
With that delivery, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, Roger literally gets one good line in the whole thing, and it's 2 words. Did I?
Right. Right. And that's okay.
That's okay. He's got 6 other movies. He's got 6 other movies.
It's not like he's hurting for being the star, that's for sure.
That's right.
So we cut to Dr. Goodhead's hotel room. She's getting ready to turn on the light, and there is some random screechy noise that makes no sense in any context in this scene.
That is absolutely 100% a John Glenn, like, we need a jump scare thing here.
Exactly. That
is absolutely the John Glenn school of, we need something here. that doesn't need to be here.
Precisely. Because it just turns out to be James. He was creeping in her hotel room the whole time.
And speaking of creeping, can I just say, just on a simp level, Lois Chiles looks amazing in that white dress. Holy cow.
She absolutely does.
That dress is lordy. Anyway, I digress.
All of the costumes in here, with the exception of Bond's, they're on a different level than you see in most Bond films. I mean, we had to go with kind of the spacey stuff too, and there was some cheesy spacey stuff, but I mean, like the outfits that they have on the Noah's Ark 2x2 Pretty People, right? Dufour's outfit, it's covering but revealing at the same time.
Yeah.
Certainly not practical in any way, shape, or form, but
no.
It's so the costume designer William Thies, who is the one who designed all the costumes for the original Star Trek show.
Okay.
He had what he called the revealing without revealing anything sort of process. So if you look at a lot of the women's outfits in Star Trek, they look like they show more than they actually do because it's strategic skin in certain places. Yeah. Exactly. So the costume designer was sort of maybe spiritually mimicking that because it was space. I don't know. I'm probably reading more into it because I'm a science fiction nerd. But anyway, you're absolutely right. That dress looked fabulous on her. The nightgown that DeFore was wearing looked wonderful on her. Someone here definitely knew how to dress attractive women without making them look skanky.
Yeah, very much so.
They looked feminine without looking skanky. It also sort of makes it a little difficult to concentrate on the whole scene, but
yeah.
I'm a dude. What am I going to do? But anyway, So James is in there saying, "Well, guess what? Charles just tried to kill me, but I killed him." And she's like, "Well, do you think I had something to do with it?" "I don't know. Do you have something to do with it?" And then there's this whole thing while they're having this little repartee between each other where he's going through all of her shit. And it all turns out to be spy gadgets, right?
Right. I love it.
He goes down to the desk and pulls out her pen. And she's like, "Are you going to give me your phone number?" And he turns it out, and it's like a poison dart injector, or it's just like a poison needle injector.
Yeah.
And he has some pithy thing to say, and I don't remember what it is.
Now, I will say there's a moment in there that it's like one of those pay attention kids moments, because he's very on the sly. If you're not paying real close attention, you won't notice that he pockets that poison pen thing.
Oh, he does. It'll come back later, kids.
Like he pockets that as he grabs the passport, which, yes, pay attention.
Right. And then he pulls out a daily diary. And he flips through the pages and a dart shoots out.
Right.
He walks out. And then he takes the pen and the dart thing, puts it in. I think he took the passport too, or the diary too, but I don't think we see him use that. But then he goes over to her fragrance table.
Oh, this is my favorite part.
Because all women take out all their fragrances at their hotel room and they have them on a fragrance table. Right?
Like you do, of course.
Like you do.
Of course you do.
Right? And she pulls out one and she spritzes herself on it like, "Well, here you go, James." And he takes out the other one and smells it, points it towards the mirror, and it's a flamethrower. Trifle overpowering, your scent.
That shrug, though, from her is perfect.
I know.
It's like,
and she's like, "Oops."
I need that as a GIF that I can constantly refer to on social media.
Yeah, anytime somebody says something that's like, you say something cheeky and they respond, you can just be like, So then Raj walks over, grabs her purse, and instead of rifling through it, hits a switch and an antenna pops out, and you get the first of the really random beep, 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 beep sound effects that have no place in any of this movie.
Also, that antenna is half cartoony, half dare I say fallacy in the way that
it wobbled a little uncomfortably for me, for sure. And can I just say, on the subject of special effects, I feel like James Cameron stole a number of sound effects from even Ridley Scott. I don't know where they came from.
Yes,
but there's a pneumatic sound.
Mm-hmm.
When the table goes up or table goes down when they're getting ready to get roasted, and a couple of pneumatic doors that are the sounds of the shutters coming down in Aliens when they're in the control room.
Okay.
And also the doors that are operating in there. But there's one sound when they're on the space station where they activate a computer and it's kind of like a kind of noise.
Uh-huh.
That was an Alien, the original one.
Yes.
When Mother talked.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, folks. I'm definitely a sound effects nerd. Stuff like that sticks with me all the time. But I digress. Back to the story. So Bond looks at her and goes, "Well, this all appears to be CIA standard issue."
Yes.
And, she's like, yeah, I'm working for the CIA, and I've got placed in there, and so on. So he's like, we should pool our resources. And then, of course, by pool our resources, I mean, we should absolutely have sex on your bed.
That's right.
But again... She's all for it.
She's all for it. And I like the little fun, little playfulness of the...
Oh, I suppose you're right, Holly. We would be better off working together. Détente.
Agreed.
Understanding.
Possibly.
Cooperation.
Maybe.
Trust?
Out of the question.
And that's the whole thing. That right there, she's consenting, and she may be doing it to try and get you under her thumb. I love that there was an intonation that they were doing this to see kind of who could dominate each other with whatever the performance was at the end.
Yes.
Because they do their secret agenting.
Yes.
In secret. And then we see Bond get up, putting on his watch, which I'm just like, you took time to take off your watch, Raj. I mean, that's class, but...
Well, I mean, you know what's funny is he does the exact same thing when he's with Corinne Dufour, too.
Yes.
Like, that's his move. That's his move to show that he's ready to get back up. That's his official move saying, I am done sleeping now. I am putting my watch back on.
Correct. Your time is up, literally. So, so Bond gets up and he goes, because she appears to be sleeping, but she's not sleeping, because as soon as the door closes, she's on the phone like, I need someone to pick up my bags. And of course, James has already seen that the bags are there. He knows she's leaving, right? So
yes.
he realizes he's not really getting much of a one-up. I do hate this scene a little bit because it implies that because she's a woman, she can't move as fast as James because she has 10,000 bags she has to take with her.
Yeah. I'm going to chalk that up to 1979.
Yeah, it was subtle. At least it wasn't in your face. Like, I'm missing him because I have to get my luggage to the car. That would have been awful. But they showed amazing restraint, I guess. So we're back the next morning. Man, how much filming did they do in Venice? I tell you. They're back to Venini glass again.
Yeah.
Apparently none the wiser for having had somebody jump head first into a piano. No crime scene, no nothing out in the immediate area, but we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
And then we get to see Bond out there with M and with the defense minister. Can I just say that I think this is the first time we see Bond popping out some Italian?
Yeah.
As he's talking to the local officials. Roger Moore convincingly speaks every language that he ever speaks as James Bond because he does it so off the cuff and easy.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
Right? So I don't know how many European languages he speaks, but he obviously must have spoken enough to be able to just kind of easy breezy through some stuff.
Well, I mean, at the very least, he actually put the work in to learn it phonetically in a way that was convincing. At the very least.
Exactly. It's such a little touch where it doesn't feel forced. Oh, I'm James Bond. I speak Italian. It's just like, off he goes. And he does it in Rio when he's speaking Portuguese, right?
Right.
So it's a very nice touch that I've always found very convincing from him.
Yes.
And maybe it's that continental flair that he always kind of brought to Bond, as sort of more of an upper crusty kind of Bond.
He does sort of exude the international aspect, where Connery seemed very rooted in Britishness, even though he was Scottish.
Sure.
But whereas I feel like with Raj, he feels very intercontinental.
Absolutely. He feels like the international man of mystery.
Exactly. Almost as if they might make a spoof based on one of his movies because he is so internationally mysterious.
Absolutely.
We might have to look into that.
That could be something in the future if we find it. So, Bond has M and the Minister of Defense. He's taken him with the local police department to go check out the laboratory so that they can see what's going on firsthand. They get upstairs. One of the police officers comes with them. And before they go in, guy opens up a bag full of gas masks. There's some quality gas masks, I got to say, by the way.
Yeah, and they clearly went through a little bit of training before they yelled action.
So that's the thing. So I caught that, right? And it made me think, did they all know how to use gas masks because they all lived in England in World War II or Britain in World War II?
I mean, they are men of a certain age.
Because they must have trained people how to do that.
Yeah.
Even if they were children, right?
Yeah.
Everybody probably went through that because they were worried about gas attacks. So it made me wonder if they just all knew inherently.
Yeah, all those drills and shit that you always hear about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched it. I'm like, those guys really know how to wear a gas mask. They got those things on. They pull the tabs back to get that secured. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm liking this. And then Bond goes in. He enters the code. Beep, boop, 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 boop. And you get the look between the minister and M like, are you fucking kidding me? But Bond remains nonplussed.
Yes. Here's the thing about this that annoys me a little bit about this moment is the fact that after they go in and they realize that the laboratory's gone and the Minister of Defense is all mad that he looked dumb in front of Drax, right? He makes it seem like Bond is a complete idiot and he wants Bond off the case. But the thing is, if Bond knew the code to get into this room, then clearly he's not entirely full of shit or crazy or not knowing what he's doing.
Right.
The defense minister immediately writes off Bond as if he's nuts or stupid or both, And so I was just sort of like, but he knew the code to get in. So
right.
You're just going to but anyway, I digress.
That's fine. So Bond opens up the door with the really great cootsy-wootsy tone. They walk inside and somehow, through some sort of magic, I'm assuming, they managed to turn all of the Death Star walls and laboratory into an elaborately painted and gilded room with windows that were not there before, with paneling that was not there before.
And a much higher ceiling.
And a significantly higher ceiling. That was all done in the course of about 8 hours.
Yep. Sure. Okay.
Like you do.
It's fine.
It's fine. Maybe they weren't really computers. Maybe those slidey walls were just fake walls to make it look like a computer. I don't know. I just feel like they could have gone with a more subtle room.
Yeah. Yeah, just maybe.
Like Cubby saw a room in the chateau in France and said, I want that to be in this movie. I don't care where we put it. It's gorgeous. Right?
Right.
And they're like, oh, okay, we could stick it in Venice. Perfect.
Just do it. It's fine.
It's fine. But anyway, in the room, there's Drax talking on the phone at his desk. In come the three of them with their gas masks on, and Drax has this little line of like, I have trouble understanding British humor. I don't think I get the joke. Ha 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 ha. And the minister's pissed off because now he's embarrassed. M's kind of like, 007, what's going on here? Minister goes over and says, so sorry, Mr. Drax. I know my government often gives you oral pleasure. So sorry, we're going off and doing our thing now. Bye-bye. And so they leave, and the minister is pissed off. I've never been so humiliated in all my life. This man should be taken off the case immediately and probably drawn and quartered and flogged and burned. And they didn't do any of that, but that's what he was thinking. And M, this is the moment that I was discussing where N sort of feels, there's this moment between them where he's like, 007, you kind of fucked up here. And he's like, no. Here's the glass vial, which I've for some reason decided to put in a protective metal case now, because maybe it might have broken if I keep getting into fights with henchmen. Hands it over to M and basically says, well, I did find this vial here. Take it to QM, analyze it. It's incredibly lethal. And then M's like, so you did. There was a lab there. And 007 really should have said, yeah, that's how I knew how to open the door, dummy, right?
Exactly.
But he didn't.
He had restraint. He showed restraint.
Because he's Bond, James Bond, and that's what he does with his boss, usually.
Usually.
So M's like, well, you better take some time off now since this guy's so hot with you. Where do you think you'll go? And Ben, where do you think James is going to go next?
Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, M's like, where do you think you're going on vacation? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Oh, yes. I've always heard you speak of wanting to go there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So cut back to Drax, who's talking to somebody on the phone. And originally I thought he was calling Thugs R Us, but he's actually, it sounds like he's calling a functionary that works for him.
Yeah.
And they're saying, we're going to need to replace Cha. And you don't hear it, but he must, on the other end, it was like, well, we heard that Jaws is available. He's like, oh, yes, if he's available, let's get him, right?
Yeah.
I don't care. Bring him, whatever the rate is, bring him along. And so then we cut to Jaws going through airport security, and Richard Kiel just looks so out of place in this whole scene because he's so large.
Well, you could... I feel like they did that with set design. I bet they made everything look just a little smaller. It also helps the way that they filmed it from up high.
Yes.
Showing that his head is damn near hitting the ceiling as he's walking.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And he's such a fat guy in a little coat in this whole scene. And he sets the detector off, and then he goes over to the airport guy, and the guy looks at him and he smiles. and the guy just kind of makes this weird sort of gulping face and waves him along.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. It doesn't need to be there at all. But, I mean, it does explain how Jaws just shows up.
I think it's one of those things where they wanted to capitalize on the popularity of Jaws, so they basically gave him an intro. They're like, here's your walkout.
Right. Well, we had to establish that clearly falling from a plane and landing on a circus tent net was sufficient to save him, so that's good news.
Yeah.
So we jump to Rio de Janeiro, which, when you know, it just happens to be during Carnival.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. And this is where the cinematographer clearly was like, oh, I got some shit to shoot here. I mean, all the things.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know if the gigantic statue of Jesus was up at this point.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if it was, somebody was like, that is not fantastic enough for me to put on screen, so I'm not going to bother, right?
Right.
Because all you just saw were the big pointy hills, everything about Rio that you kind of know from the topography.
Yeah.
It was so green and lush looking. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of rolling hills, Bond gets into a Rolls Royce, and as he's driving, there's a car following him with a very attractive young lady taking pictures of him.
Ah, yes, Manuela.
Yes. And wasn't Holly behind him at some point in time? No. He doesn't see Holly again until the
sightseeing thing.
Yeah, exactly. So he checks into the hotel, into the presidential suite with the Rudy Tooty snotty bellman guy, and Bond's like, I don't need you to show me the whole place. I fucking know how hotels work. Sends the guy on his way with a stinky face.
I think he's pissed because he didn't get a tip or something. I don't know. Or maybe they just made him be snobby like that. I don't know.
He was definitely not happy with not getting a tip. But we all know that James Bond only gives tips to hot, attractive women.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you. And speaking of hot, attractive women, there's the girl from the car with the camera. She's behind the bar, shaking up a martini, right?
Not stirring it.
Not stirring it. And her name's Manuela, and she clearly does not know that you don't put a martini into a bourbon glass. But we'll let it go for now. And she worked for station VH, which I have no idea what VH actually stands for.
I have no idea.
If any of the tens of listeners know, please let us know.
Yes.
But hands Bond the martini, and Bond asks her about the letters C and W, which was also on the crates that were carrying the vials.
Yes, during the exposition action scene.
Yeah, exactly. During the exposition action scene in the exposition warehouse, not the exposition blueprints.
Right.
She notes that it stands, which she thinks it stands for Carlos and Wilmsburg, which is an importing subsidiary of Drax Corp. And then they sit down on the couch, and Bond's like, well, how do you kill 5 hours in Rio if you don't samba? As he starts, pulling the little sash on her very revealing dress. I was like, ugh. This is the most Bondy girl conquering moment of them all.
Yeah, it's a little... I'm going to try and chalk it up to 1979 again, hopefully.
That's fair. In my own little headcanon, she's like, no, sir, we're not going to be doing that. I'll teach you how to samba. And so they're dancing in there for 5 hours until they can go out.
That'd be amazing. She's teaching him the dance steps.
Yep. And so as Manuela and Mr. Bond get into their samba lessons, we're going to go ahead and pause here, as this is a James Bond review after all, and we all know those always live twice. And so with that, we will leave you here.
Yes.
In anticipation of hearing the riveting conclusion of our Moonraker review.
Indeed. What will happen next between Bond and Manuela? Will Bond, in fact, learn the samba? Will he get the dance moves right? Or will he be endlessly criticized by Manuela? You just don't know until you tune into the next episode. And with that, I suppose we should just get on out of here. What do you say, Jason?
Yep.
All right. Well, with that, I'm Ben.
And I'm Jason.
And the CIC will return with more missions, more martinis,
and more Moonraker mayhem.